It was John that was the first to be awoken by the searing pain coursing through his body. Blinking away his blurred vision, he realised he was in a driver's seat of a van that was now lying on its side. Broken glass had showered the inside, and while he was fortunate enough not to be too injured, as his eyes regained focus, he discovered the same couldn't be said about the passengers next to him.
Ah, fuck. Oh, fuck. Fuck! Fuck, guys, wake up.
What the hell? Where are we? When did we crash?
I don't know. I think...
You don't know? You were driving the fucking thing, weren't
Will the
you?
two of you shut up and help me get this door open? The three climbed out of the crashed vehicle and tried to get their bearings. They found themselves on a dirt road surrounded by fields. Daylight was fading fast, so they only had a few hours before nighttime was upon them. And, to make matters even worse, none of them could remember anything.
Well, my phone's trashed.
Well, at least you have your phone. Can anyone recall where we are or what the hell we're doing here?
I think we're a film crew or something. The van's full of cameras and stuff. Well, broken cameras anyway.
A film crew? Yeah, that rings a bell. The vehicle was turned on its side and in a ditch by the road, but there was no sign of a collision. Regardless, there was no way the vehicle was going to run again tonight. And if they wanted answers, they were going to have to start walking. It wasn't long until the group came across a farmhouse. They were cold and filthy from the accident, but if they were polite enough, maybe they could use the owner's phone, or at least give them pointers as to where on earth they were. The homeowner was a farmer who took one look at the group and invited them in, letting them freshen up in his bathroom and use the phone to call a nearby garage to tow the van. He was even kind enough to offer them food while they recovered. Say, you're not that film crew I've been hearing about lately. Making a documentary about the old house on the hill, ain't you?
Sorry, our memory before the crash is really blurry. Wait, an old house? What house?
Well, the one outside of town. A bit of a local legend, that place, you could say. The original owner died, or went mad, or something like that. We call it the Old Cooper House now. There was something familiar about that name to the group, as well as a strange sense of dread that came from it. Almost like something awful happened there that their minds just refused to remember. With the van being towed to the local garage, the group were dropped off at the only hotel in town. It was small, and the group barely had enough money on them to pay for one night, but it was getting late, and they hadn't any other options. As the group stepped into the reception, ready to tell their sob story again about the accident, they were surprised to discover that the receptionist recognised them.
Excuse me, we know it's late, but
There you boys are! Oh, I was worried I'd have to get a search party to find you all.
What? You were going to search for us?
Well, of course. When you lot packed your van this morning, I thought you'd be back before noon. Say, did Lynn not come with you?
Wait, Lynn? Who's Lynn?
Who's Lynn, indeed? Well, that red-headed lass who booked you all in yesterday. Why are you boys looking at me like that? You seem like you knew her well enough when she booked you in yesterday.
No, there's only just the three
Yeah,
of...
that's right. Lynn's just taken the van to the garage. We had an accident on the road. Speaking of which, can we get spare keys to our rooms? I think we lost them in the accident. My goodness. Yes, of course. Well, I'll be sure to keep an eye out for Lynn tonight. I can't have you all wandering around in the rain. Taking the spare keys, John waited for the receptionist to leave earshot before turning to Ben.
What the hell? Why'd you lie? You could have helped us.
He knew us. Clearly, we've been here before. If we say we don't remember anything, he could lie to us and we'd never know. No, we need to keep our heads down and see if we can piece together anything.
He said there was a woman with us. I reckon if we have separate rooms, then so did she. If I can get into her room, maybe I can find something that will jog our memories.
You guys do what you want, I'm going to bed. When John entered his room, he was greeted with familiarity as he recognised all his possessions just lying around, including his laptop that was sat on the desk waiting for him to return. Turning it on, he was met with a series of sound files he must have left there waiting for him to edit. Flicking through them, he discovered that they were interviews with the locals of the town, and they were all talking about one thing: the abandoned house on the hill. So that's why the old Cooper house sounded so familiar. They'd clearly spent the whole day asking people about it. But if it was so important, why couldn't they remember? And how come they crashed the van so far away? Meanwhile, Darren had to persuade the receptionist to get the spare key to enter Lynn's room. When he entered, he discovered a plethora of paperwork strewn everywhere. Closing the door behind him, he spent the next hour or so reading as much as he could to work out just what was going on. The paperwork consisted of signed agreements for interviews, hour-by-hour filming schedules, and even photocopied newspaper articles of the local paper mentioning the Cooper house. All of it signed by Lynn Cartwright, field producer of the upcoming documentary team The Supernatural Files, investigating haunted houses all around the country. Checking the schedule date, Darren noticed the last thing mentioned was to film the interior of the Cooper house with a letting agent who was trying to sell the house but was happy to do tours. Ben fell asleep the moment his head hit the pillow. As he slept, I asked his player for a power roll, and he failed. His dreams were consumed with being lost inside a dark room, desperately trying to find a way out. All the while, a voice called out from the darkness.
Hey, who the hell shut the door? Guys, this isn't funny. Open the door right now.
Lynn? Lynn, is that you? Where are you?
There's something in here. Oh God, what the hell is that thing?
A wave of nausea forced Ben awake and straight into the bathroom, ready to be sick. Grabbing the toilet rim, he coughed and gagged uncontrollably. After a few seconds, Ben thought he felt something tickle his throat. No, not just tickling. It was moving. With a free hand, he reached into his mouth to extract whatever it was. And when he looked down, what he saw made his blood run cold. Within his fingers, writhing and twitching in a pool of his own saliva, was what looked like a small, milky white spider.